Hello, Music History 2 students. This video is about writing the introduction to your paper, or what I call in the assignment instructions, the opening statement. So the first thing I want to do is urge you to read all of chapter 5. It guides you through the entire process of finding your research question, thinking about analysis and interpretation, writing the draft thesis and draft outline, which you've already done. And now we're getting to the introduction, draft introduction for your paper. So, and the other thing that's really important before this is about how to use evidence in the paper. That's going to be the next step as you start drafting the body of the paper. But I think it's important to read that part and think about how you're going to be using evidence in the paper as you write the introduction so that you really know what it's about. So this part about writing the introduction starts on page 89, and I give you this graphic here that kind of describes, it's almost like a form diagram, like in a musical form, and you can kind of follow this form to create your introduction or your opening statement. Papers often start with a hook, something that catches the reader's attention, an anecdote, a quote, a fact, a controversial statement. If you don't have something like that, don't worry about it. You may find it later as you continue drafting the paper. Sometimes writers start with what I call a universal statement, like every culture has music, or Mozart is the greatest composer of all time, or music is a universal language. These are really empty statements that don't mean anything and are really not true, but they might help get the ball rolling. So if you find yourself wanting to write something like that, just go ahead and write it, and then later on you can edit it out. So think about taking a mindset that was like the free writing mindset, where you're just going to write without judging it or editing it. And then after you've written it, go ahead and feel free to edit those words. You have an abundance of words within you, so it doesn't hurt to edit some out. Think about the research process diagram with what I call like the fried egg, with the topic as the yolk and the context as the white of the egg. And your research process as you're writing this introduction. So you want to give your reader an introduction to the topic, but how that topic is situated within its context. Think about what you've learned from compiling the annotated bibliography. So you may want to sum up very briefly what we already know about your topic and its context. And then you're going to introduce us to what we don't yet know. That's your research question or your research problem. Then you're going to give your contribution to the conversation, and the introduction closes with the thesis statement, your draft thesis statement. So go ahead and read this. This part of the book starts on page, 89 in the book. And then you have a sample introduction by an actual student. This is one of my students from Music History 3 class. And you can see how she followed this form pretty closely, although she doesn't start with a strong hook, like a controversial fact or something like that. She just starts with a description of the topic and context, and that's fine. You'll note that I highlighted the different moves, rhetorical moves that she's making in the opening statement by underlining, bolding, and highlighting, but you don't need to do that. Obviously, papers aren't written like that. I just did that to highlight in the right-hand column the parts of that introduction. Excellent. Your introduction can be one paragraph like this. You might need to have 2 paragraphs if you feel like you really need to explain the context or your methodology, or give the reader an introduction to the state of research or the scholarly conversation for your topic and context. Fantastic. I look forward to reading these, and please let me know if you have any questions.